surface. I'm just going to drop a bit of gold on. There we go. Yeah. So, and this is the next thing is that a bit tricky to judge. Now you see, one of our lady's got quite fat. I'll take that off. It's got quite fat wrinkles, hasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that means there's water there. What's going to happen if I touch that now and stroke it out?
Break it.
Break it, yeah. Whereas here, you probably can't see that well. Here, they're very thin wrinkles, which means that there's no water on it. It's all soaked in. All right? So if I just leave that and keep gilding, you've got gold rising like that, and it's not in contact with the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to burnish, it's going to break that gold off. You're going to get a thin red little line there from the bowl. So what you've got to do is, when it's that stage, just first of all, just tamp it down. You just put your brush on and just push it down. The reason you don't stroke initially is that A, if there is a bit of dampness, that you're going to rip the gold. You're going to do this kind of pushing it. And B, you want a bit of vertical pressure to really put into contact. Later on, as you'll see, when that whole area there has been tamped down, we can brush it a bit more vigorously.
Okay.
Aidan, are these tamping brushes?
No,
They're not.
no, that's a narrow form tip.
All right, so that's
You need a
the
full
squirrel one that you're using. That's the tamping.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a really big one which I thought I had. I never looked for it, but I use this really massive one which I use for the final brushing. But this is the size you need roughly for the initial tamping.
So it's also a polishing brush.
Yeah, but you want a bigger one for polishing because it's quite floppy that, and you can, when you're polishing, you want to push quite hard. It's really easy to scratch it with that.
Oh, yeah,
So you
yeah.
want to slop it on
Does
there.
that have a size on it? Sorry, did you say?
And was that on the list?
Yeah, there was one. I think
Okay.
not that big.
Oh,
The bigger the better, I said. So that's still too fat there, that's still fat there. So we keep going. So sometimes you get so involved in putting the gold down, you forget to look back.
Mm-hmm.
And what would happen if you don't tamp down, when you come to burnish, you're going to get bits coming
You're
off.
stuck.
If you do it too early, you're going to break the gold.
Mm-hmm.
So where it's too fat and there's water, you're just waiting for it to...
You're just waiting.
Okay.
I wouldn't overdo it, but one way to help get a good layer of gold is actually to press it in the middle a bit so it's slightly concave. So it goes down the middle and flops outwards. Sometimes bits and pieces drop down, so it's good to have your dry tamping brush in the hand and just the dust ahead of you, because you don't get any bits and pieces trapped underneath the gold.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed you doing that. Did you just put the water over the plain gesso as well?
Yeah.
You didn't try to turn around it? Okay.
No problem about that. So now I'm coming into corner, so I'm going to go round and tilt it the other way. Remember not to lift up the brush, slide it around.
Okay. The jar's in the way for this one. Can you move the jar for
And
this
you
one?
must,
Thank you.
you must go looking at an angle so you can see from the reflection if you've covered all the area.
It's like magic. It just
Looks so straightforward, isn't it?
Yeah, it does
big
too.
red.
It's really easy.
Don't worry, after
You really-
20 years we'll
it
do
is
this.
practice in sort of mental stability. Just trying to keep as calm as possible. Literally don't forget to breathe.
I was
If you
going to
hold
say,
your breath so
breathing.
much,
Yeah.
you'll gradually get more and more tense.
Right. And then you'll keel over, and that'll be really bad.
But if you fall on the gold, it will be a disaster.
That's true.
First thing, I don't like to drag the brush right across. Some people cut like that.
Right.
They can drag it, so just go backwards and forwards 2 or 3 times.
So just teeny tiny sawing.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
You do
Okay.
it. Always giving that a checking behind.
Mhm.
Keep it floppy, but when you put it down, that will probably fold underneath.
Yeah.
I tend to burnish the first. Some people, if they're going to double gild, don't burnish the first, and only burnish the last. But with a bit of luck, you can get away with 1 layer. If you burnish and you find that it looks really good, if it doesn't look good, you double gild.
Mm.
Right, so I think we need to go back here and do some tamping. So that's good. You can see there's still water down the bottom there, so the top is okay. So we tamp that and don't go down the edge. There's still a bit of a fat wrinkle there, so I'm not going to touch that, so I'll just go here. Now I'm laying in this direction, so they overlap like that, aren't they? Like that. So when I do the final brushing, I'm going to brush that way rather than that way.
Right,
So if I brush that
okay.
way, I might break it off and you'll get a red line there. So brush in the opposite direction. That's when you do your big brush and sort of long brushes. But when you've got wrinkles like that, when you come to, as I say, press down first with the brush.
Mm-hmm.
Press down first. But when you actually brush out, brush in the direction of the wrinkles. If you go
Okay.
across, you can break the wrinkles off
Right.
and show the red. So press first, brush in the direction of the wrinkles, and then you can get whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay.
And then is it when burnishing you have to go in a certain direction?
I'll go into that later, yeah. It doesn't matter which direction you go.
When you said when brushing, when you go opposite to the way you laid it.
No, well, yeah, the two things, you've laid in that direction, so it's,
Yeah.
you've got to brush that to push it down.
Uh-huh.
But when the wrinkles, you brush the
Go
direction
with
of the wrinkles.
Okay.
It's nothing to do with the overlap, it's the wrinkles.
Yep.
Oops. If you're like a scaffolding and doing 3D stuff, you hold that in your hand and you put lots of gold leaf in the back
Mm-hmm.
and you just pull it out as you need it. So underneath most gilded cushions you've got 2 things to put your finger in, and often you've got a few little slots to put all your tools in.
Oh.
So the whole toolbox is sticking underneath.
Oh, that's cool.
But we don't generally do that, so I just took all the leather off underneath that was used to hold the tools.